Anyways, here we are. It's game time. It's the Philly Fade. I'm 4-0 this year. And I am hoping that I can go to, maybe I get lucky. Maybe I get off to an extremely hot pace here and go to 10-0. But, we are going to lose games here. Nobody's perfect. But let's have some fun with this here. So, first game the first game of the weekend, Houston's back in the playoffs. So you know what that means. Houston inherits their 4:30 Saturday time slot. Now, I'm surprised the NFL didn't step in and say, hey, we need to switch this around, put the Chiefs at 4:30 because it's so damn cold there, and put Cleveland and Houston at the 8 o'clock site since they're a dome. Just the way the schedule worked out, they didn't look at the weather forecast. I think that they wanted the Chiefs on Peacock anyway because, all the Swifties will be watching that game in bated breath, seeing their breath because it is so damn cold there. I think the game time temperature is going to be -4. So, yeah, it's going to be a real cold one. Cleveland is looking to get a win here. Joe Flacco, if he wins this game, he will either tie or pass Tom Brady for most road playoff wins in NFL history in the playoffs. Houston, they're a year ahead of schedule, if you think about it. Now, I think I had the Houston Texans as one of those teams where in the second half of the year they will really get going. The other one being Green Bay, who plays on Sunday. Now, I really think that with Houston, for the most part, it's one of two things with a young team like this. It's either the spotlight gets to them and you're a deer in headlights, or you're totally oblivious to the pressure and you win. They're playing at home. They're a road dog. Cleveland doesn't play as well on the road, especially their defense doesn't play as well. Let me just check one thing here before I get to my pick here for that game. Now, Cleveland did win in Houston 3 weeks ago. Now, my thinking is if Houston is that team, and I need to do that. There we go. Making sure I had the right thing on here. So, when I look at this, Cleveland could come in after everything that happened 3 weeks ago and think, oh, we're just going to score all these points again, and we're just going to do the same thing over and over again. Just go deep and just score a ton of points. We'll see how good Houston is at adjusting, not only with this game, playing an opponent that you recently played, and also adjusting to the playoff spotlight. I think Houston is going to do that. And ladies and gentlemen, this is my first upset of the week. Technically, it's an upset because of the point spread. And the one thing I will tell you is, if you think Houston's going to win this game outright, why go here at +2 -110? Even though a lot of people by habit do that because, of all those football pools that we had growing up, those little pieces of paper that were 3 inches by 7 inches or whatever the length was. You just circle them, you give the little stub and you give it to your guy. Everybody's used to that. And some people, they will just do, oh, I'm just going to take Cleveland money line because, I don't mess with lines. Me, because this is a 2-point game, the chances of Houston covering this 2-point spread and losing by 1 is very small. If you're going to go here, why lose money on your wager? Let's say you're betting 1 unit. Let's just say it's $100. You're only going to get $91 back here. Whereas here, with the money line, for that $100, you're going to get $114 back. So sometimes you have to know how these spreads are read. And personally, I'm a gut feel guy more than anything else. I think Houston being at home and the crowd will probably be extra amped up because of the fact this is the first playoff game in a few years for the Houston Texans. And they're ahead of schedule. There's no doubt about it. But I think they get their win. They advance in their time slot, the Saturday 4:30 game. Houston advances, and that's my first pick. Houston money line plus 114. And if something changes in these odds, I will change accordingly as well, and update you as well, because we will finalize these picks before we close out the show here tonight. Second game, Kansas City and Miami. Miami, they went from a 2 seed to a 6 seed. But up. What do I mean by that? Miami, all they had to do was beat Buffalo. They had that lead. Buffalo imposed their will in the second half, and they held the ball, long drives, wore down that defense, and won 21-14. Buffalo wins the division. They got the 2 seed. Miami drops from 2 to 6, becoming a wild card. And now they have to go to the North Pole, a.k.a. Kansas City, where it'll be -4. And I did see a stat today that was worth mentioning. And let me see if it was on Facebook or on Twitter. Let me check Facebook here real quick. And if I don't see it, I'm just going to try to remember what it was. No. But I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to try Instagram here, because why not? There we go. I keep forgetting if I change the tab, it's going to change your view. Sorry about that. Oh, by the way, just to let you guys know, because I saw this today, if you have a Popeye's chicken nearby, I do. Popeyes will give out free wings if a team with wings wins the Super Bowl. So if that's the Eagles, who else has wings that are in the playoffs? Jeez, I'm brain dead today. The Ravens. Yeah, it's the Eagles or the Ravens. So those are your 2 teams. If you want free wings, Popeyes. They're not a sponsor, but little funny thing I saw here. But it's going to be ice cold. And I believe the stat was kind of like the stat with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all those years, where Tampa Bay never won a game where the kickoff temperature was below 40 degrees. In this case, it was like the last 15 games, they're like 0-10, under at 40 degrees or under. and 1 in 15 when it's 49 and under. Well, we know it's going to be well below 40. And that's not the reason why I'm picking this game. I think Miami is going to be in a bunch of trouble here because you cannot, when you're in a warm weather locale like Miami, you can't replicate the conditions that you're expecting in Miami. Now, granted, Kansas City, they can go indoors and crank up the heat, but this is a game in Kansas City. It's ice cold. I don't see. Miami has all kinds of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Tyreek Hill, he's a little banged up here. Waddle is hurt. You know, and just a reminder, Brian, you got to play the Waddle sound alert when we get into that private chat later, if there is one tonight, because we have to honor Chris Christie bowing out of the presidential race because he waddled away. But anyways, this is an easy game here. Usually I stay away from the VIGs that are more than 10% here, but going to 4.5 isn't that big of a deal to me. Boom. Kansas City. That's my second pick. Then the Sunday games. Pittsburgh, quarterback controversy, all that stuff. They're taking on Buffalo, who is a team that probably no one wants to face in the AFC right now. Buffalo has all their flaws. They have their turnovers with Josh Allen, but they're finding ways to win. They won the division last week in Miami, and you know, weather is going to be horrible in Buffalo, but Pittsburgh's used to it. This isn't like it's Buffalo and Miami having to go to Buffalo like they did last year. Now, for the sake of this segment, the Philly Fade, I'm taking Buffalo minus 9.5 at minus 118. But in real life, I would not take that pick. I would tinker with the line and, you know, maybe make it 10 or whatever, or just not play this game in terms of the line. But since I'm picking all 6 games here, I'll take Buffalo. I'll eat that extra 8% of a VIG there. That's my third pick. Green Bay and Dallas. This is an interesting game. Now, Green Bay, they're the youngest team in the playoffs this year. They're taking on the Cowboys team that's won 15 or 16 in a row at home. And, you know, it's getting louder and louder. We them boys, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. But I'll tell you what. I think Green Bay, at the very least, is a team that can give Dallas fits. They're going to give Dallas fits like Joe Theisen's prostate gave him fits whenever he would go to the bathroom, or whenever he had to go to the bathroom. But I am going to play safe here because the Green Bay Packers have never lost at AT&T Stadium. Now, granted, AT&T Stadium has not been around that long. And also, we know about how these long streaks come to an end. Ask the Philadelphia Eagles. They lost to the New York Jets in week 5 or 6 of the season. Trust me, I picked the Eagles that week. But if you're really brave and you think Green Bay can keep that streak up at AT&T Stadium, then go ahead. Green Bay is proving me right. At least I think they are. I gotta pull up that podcast from September when I was making my predictions, because I think my prediction was Green Bay super slow in the first half of the year, coming on strong at the end like they did. I'm gonna play it safe here, and there's nothing I want more than to see you cash Green Bay at plus 250, especially with the fact that it's the Dallas Cowboys. And I would love to scream around 8 o'clock when Green Bay takes the knee and wins this game, I would love to do my Jimmy Johnson impression and yell, "How about them Cowboys?" I don't think I have any Cowboys fans on my floor in my apartment, so I won't be pissing anybody off. However, I am going to play it safe here because streaks do come to an end. And which streak will come to an end? I think the Packers streak in a close game. I'll take the Packers +7 here at -108, and we will hope that they pull off the upset, even though I don't think that they will. Even though I hope for Green Bay to win, but I think Dallas holds on, finds a way to win. Something nefarious like the game between Detroit and Dallas a couple of weeks ago, and we'll see what happens there. So Green Bay +7 -108, hoping for the money. Hoping if you're brave enough to play the money line, I encourage it. It's just that I'm playing it safe here, which is a rarity for me sometimes. Then we go to Detroit. Thankfully, they have a dome. Rams come into town on Sunday Night Football, and I'm sure as soon as these matchups are set in the NFC, it's like, oh, we got to have the Rams on Sunday Night Football because, oh, Matthew Stafford goes to Detroit and Jared Goff plays his old team, the Rams. Rams are a dangerous team here, and they won the Super Bowl 2 years ago with Matthew Stafford. They had that off year. We're thinking, salary cap hell, but they bounced back. They got into the playoffs. They got in as a 6th seed. They won over San Francisco last week, which meant absolutely nothing. That's why Carson Wentz was quarterbacking. And Detroit, even though they're facing their former teammate, at least some of the guys on the team are probably still on the lines from when Matthew Stafford finished his Detroit portion of his career there. I think the LA Rams are a very dangerous team here. Detroit's playing their first home playoff game in 30 years. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm taking the Rams. +136. I don't think that they win the game outline. I think that the Rams win this outright, and they get to have a rematch. They will have a rematch with the San Francisco 49ers, and they may be the team that knocks off the Niners in the divisional round, because if it's not the Rams, it's not going to be anybody, in my opinion. And then we go to Monday night, and I'll be getting done work at 7:30. I'll be all legaled up, even though I do not have good vibes on this game. And I kind of teased this when they were having a debate of what Tampa Bay versus Tampa was. I'm trying to explain to them that Tampa Bay is the name of the region because of the body of water, and Tampa is a city, and blah 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 blah. So I snuck in a little hint that I'm on Twitch tonight. So Brian, I just saw your post here because I'm looking at different screens here. I will add you in here. So yeah, why not? So we'll go over your picks as well, and we'll do whatever. So I do not feel good about this game. Now, personally, I don't think you're going to fire Nick Sirianni, even though it is a fireable offense that you lost 5 of 6. If you're an Eagles fan or you think the Eagles are going to win this game, you can call it the curse of Big Dom, because Big Dom is going to be back on the sideline after his unnecessary suspension. I think it was total BS that he got suspended for essentially 6 games. 5 games he got kicked off the bench because the San Francisco guy was picking a fight with him, in my opinion. But this team isn't what it was at the beginning of the year. Now, Darius Slay is supposed to come back. That should help the Eagles. Whether it does or not, that's another story. Jalen Hurts has a broken middle finger, or I'm sorry, he had a dislocated middle finger. It was not broken. He told everybody, he showed everybody about it on the show. And if you are watching after the fact, I wasn't giving you the bird. I was just demonstrating what Jalen Hurts did. Um, but, you know, I do not feel good about this game at all. But the thing is, Tampa Bay is Eagles beat Tampa Bay in week 2, or was it week? No, it's week 3, and you know that seems like eons ago. And I am hoping the Eagles win this game just so that I don't have to worry about one and done. As you know, the way I am more than happy to pick the Eagles to lose in this segment of the show in order to get you guys a win, especially if you're an Eagles fan. I just don't feel good about this game, even though Tampa Bay only rushes for 90 yards a game, so they're going to try to throw it on you. But Tampa Bay, I mean, the best way I heard about Baker Mayfield today was that Baker Mayfield on the football field is bipolar. He has a game where he is the NFL MVP, and then he has games where you think he's the right-handed Tim Tebow. And Rashard White helped my fantasy football team, but this isn't about fantasy football anymore. This is about surviving and advancing. I think Tampa Bay finds a way to win this game, unfortunately. And everybody in Philadelphia, my Twitter, I'm going to have to see it for 2 days because I'm off from work next Tuesday and Wednesday. And also, it is Martin Luther King Day. And if you remember the Super Bowl year, the Eagles came out to dreams and nightmares. Everybody's going to have a dream of an Eagles win, but I sense a nightmare happening. And even though I'm an Eagles fan, I'm not afraid of picking against them. And I am not afraid of picking against them on top of that to tell you that I will gladly be wrong to see the Eagles win. I will sacrifice a potential 9-0 start this year on the Philly Phade to get an Eagles win. But I got to do it. And if I had the soundboard, I would give the Eagles one of those because I am going with the Tampa Bay Bucks at plus 136 to win that game in Tampa. And I think it's supposed to rain on Monday as well. So another crap weather game for the Eagles. And that's all they've been having over the last 6-8 weeks of the season. So my picks for the weekend. Houston plus 114 on the money line. Kansas City minus 4.5 at plus 112. Minus 112, that is. I saw a plus on my plus. That should be a minus. Buffalo minus 9.5 at minus 118. Usually I don't play that just for the sake of these picks. Why not? Green Bay plus 7 minus 108. The LA Rams money line plus 136. Tampa Bay money line plus 136. And if you want to tail this parlay, a 6-team parlay will pay 79 to 1 odds at plus 79.27. So if you were to put $100 on this, you get a crap ton of money. I almost said the S word. I'm trying not to curse tonight. So what I am going to do now